Okay, so what's the show about today? Sure? Laksa, a good egg thosai, and my mom's sambal sotong. Oh, Cooking with Paris, Empire, Modern Family. Oh. Singapore shows. Holland V. Crime Watch.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Hey wait, you're gonna edit this part out from the video, right? Hi, I'm your host Hafiz and welcome to Agree to Disagree. And if you find me familiar but can't quite recall where you've seen me from, it's okay. I've played a wide variety of characters.
Ini kau cantik. And my name is Bunda Bida. Salam haru.
Yes, I have a lot of fun cross-dressing as a makcik. But as I keep trying to tell my very worried mother, it's a career, not a hobby. So ever since graduating from school, I've been all over the local media and entertainment industry. On stage, on your screens, on the internet, in your ears, basically everywhere. Therefore, I think I'm well positioned to make this statement today. The Singapore media scene is kinda uninspiring, sometimes cringy.
But you are!
A quick scroll on social media and I realize it's not hard to find similar sentiments echoed. But frankly, I don't recall it always being like this. Remember the era of quality Singaporean shows? Holland Village, 𝔸𝕘𝕣𝕖𝕖, Spin, 999, and who could forget the champion? Towards Fiona Xie. Yes, even as a young Malay boy who couldn't understand a word of Mandarin, I was lapping that content up. But over the years, it seems like something has changed. Just as local shows were about to get good, the arrival of YouTube, on-demand streaming platforms and short-form content contributed to whatever it is today. Which makes me wonder, what happened to all the potential? I can hear some of you thinking, yes, I don't really watch Singapore TV shows or films anymore, but there are good local content creators on YouTube and social media. And yes, I agree that YouTube and social media platforms have made it easier for local creatives to create content. Singaporean creativity isn't dead. But online and social media is only one part of our media scene. Local TV shows and films, a medium that has lasted generations, is another crucial aspect which faces a very real threat today. Us not watching it. Why, you may ask? Because wherever they are screened, be it on Netflix or on free-to-air channels, local TV shows and films are probably our best chance at connecting Singaporeans of all ages, races and cultures to one another, contributing to a more vibrant Singaporean identity. Find it hard to understand why? The Korean Wave is an excellent example of that. A boy band speaking at a UN conference, producing record-breaking shows, and who can forget, a historic Oscar win. Not to mention the spillover effect that it's had on Korea's economy both directly and indirectly. Will Singapore ever see that day? Well, maybe if we start putting money where our mouth is. I mean, everyone starts somewhere, right? According to this article on the history of K-pop, it all began in 1992 with one electric hip-hop performance and a song debut that went on to top South Korea's singles charts for a record-smashing 17 weeks. And who else could make that happen than the very first people to support the band? South Koreans themselves. So guys, have you ever wondered if all this could actually be our fault? Let's investigate. Are Singaporeans to blame for an uninspiring local media and entertainment scene? One argument, two sides. It's Hafiz versus Hafiz. Okay, honestly, why are Singaporeans to blame if we don't watch stuff that doesn't appeal to us? So right now, if our local broadcasters' competitors are international selections from Netflix, HBO, Disney Plus and Viu, then local TV shows and films just have to step up. At the end of the day, you want me to watch, create something I want to watch. After a long day at work, I want to watch something fun and exciting, and not cringy. Not to think about all these media problems, because it's not mine to solve. And it's not very fair to pin this all on show producers and script writers as well. With the types of budget that our local productions have, how do we expect to go against media giants around the world competing with international shows? One episode of Peaky Blinders, a Netflix show, cost 1.5 million. Even if every Singaporean suddenly turns back to watching Singaporean TV shows and films out of pure goodwill, There's little way our local industry can ever pull off a show of such quality purely through commercial means and without public funding because of our market size. Here's Jack Neo spilling the truth on how little money he makes from his movies in Singapore during an interview on 𝔻𝕗𝕖𝕖.
说实在的，拍电影赚钱吗？
其实很难赚钱，所以我们很多电影都是政府资助，所以有些时候呢，为什么呢？这个置入广告会多了一点点。
哦，是的。
你想想看，350万制作，他那个钱从哪里来？都是从赞助商来的。
So before everyone jumps on local TV and film producers for subpar CGI or blatant product placements, remember, we live in a capitalist society that's driven by numbers. Anything and everything we invest in needs to result in monetary returns. And if you're immediately pointing fingers at the government for the lack of public funding, come on lah. Even I, as someone who depends on the media scene for a living, worry that it's a gamble for the government to start pumping in more money into the media sector if there's no guarantee it will bring in revenue. Just take a look at the manufacturing industry. It makes up 20 to 25% of Singapore's GDP, while the media industry doesn't contribute enough to even be on the list. And that is just the reality that a small city-state like Singapore has to deal with in order to survive. That's the kind of attitude that guarantees our failure. Just as much as we need a strong military and a robust financial hub in order to survive, in today's world, we also need a strong people rooted in a shared culture. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we need quality Singaporean media entertainment in order to survive as Singapore. You want more international citizens to know about Singapore and come visit? Tell authentic and entertaining Singaporean stories. Imagine China liking one of our shows so much they decided to remake it, complete with a knockoff 𝔻𝕗𝕖𝕗 and a knockoff Chi Yu Wu. And what about successful shows like Phua Chu Kang, which had a Malaysia spin-off? Or more recently, CNA's Inside Maximum Security, which raked in super high viewership. These successes have helped put our little red dot on the world map. Yes, I also know we often complain that restrictions and guidelines on our national broadcasting screens prevent a lot of taboo topics present in our everyday lives from being portrayed in local productions, and this naturally pushes us away from our local screens. Yet, when independent filmmakers pave their own paths and produce boundary-breaking films, have we supported them sufficiently? So yes, we are to blame because on the whole, I don't think we've done enough to support films and shows we say we want to see more of. Call me a hopeless romantic, but I do believe that Singaporeans have a heart for our local content. I see this when I watch content on YouTube. Fellow Singaporeans are supporting other local creators. And to be honest, although it's not easy to sit through the Reddit threads dissing works that I am personally involved in, if you read closely, the commenters participate in these comment threads because they care. Okay lah, maybe not all. But I think Singaporeans are a discerning bunch and we do recognize good content when we see it. Ultimately, who wouldn't want to see our TV shows and films succeed? Let's agree to disagree on that note, but I still have one last thing to point out. I've noticed that Singaporeans have a tendency to always look outwards, beyond our own shores, sometimes to compare ourselves against international quality, other times to seek validation from sources overseas. I see this as almost a cultural inferiority complex. We don't actively seek out and celebrate made-in-Singapore talents until they make it overseas. I mean, isn't it telling from how we only recognize Joseph Schooling and Nathan Hartono after their overseas successes? Take it from limkopi, the founder of Clover Pictures, who commented after Anthony Chen's ilo surprise win at the Golden Horse. Singaporeans are generally suspicious of the appeal of local films. A Singapore film is guilty until proven innocent. Singaporeans simply hold Singaporean content to different standards. It's not any individual Singaporean's fault, of course, but I think we are part of the solution. Money Heist flopped in Spain before Netflix bought it. No one wanted to buy Squid Game for 10 years. K-pop started only in 1992, but with the government backing the industry, it is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. See, I don't think we need to aim for such lofty heights, but it shows that there is a way back, a way to cut through the competition and back into Singaporeans' hearts. I've said a lot today, but I want to know what you think. Are Singaporeans ourselves to blame for an uninspiring media and entertainment scene? Even better, do you have ideas on how we can do better? Comment down below.